Hello, I'm Chris Chandler, president of PFL. Thanks for joining us this week for our weekly look at what is happening in railcar markets. We begin this week with a look at the job market. Initial jobless claims adjusted for the week ending November 22nd came in at 216,000 people. This is down 6,000 people week over week. Turning to financial markets, stock closed higher on Friday of last week and were higher week over week. The Dow closed up 289.3 points to close the week at 47,716.42 points. The S&P 500 closed up 36.48 points, while the Nasdaq closed up 151 points. In the energy sector, WTI crude closed lower on Friday of last week, but managed to stay positive for the week. WTI closed at $58.55, which was up 49 cents per barrel week over week. Brent crude closed at $63.20 per barrel. U.S. commercial crude stocks increased by 2.8 million barrels week over week. Total motor gasoline inventories increased by 2.5 million barrels, while distillate fuel inventories increased by 1.1 million barrels week over week. Propane and propylene inventories declined by 1.1 million barrels week over week. In North America rail traffic, total weekly rail volumes were down 5.5% compared to the same week last year. Coal provided a bright spot and was up 6.71%. Forest products took a heavy hit, dropping 21.67%. Now let's look at the stories we are watching out for you last week. We are seeing political and infrastructure developments in Canada that promises to reshape crude oil logistics landscape. On Thursday of last week, the federal government of Canada executed a memorandum of understanding with the province of Alberta for a new high-capacity pipeline to the northern coast of British Columbia. This pipeline is projected to move up to 1 million barrels of crude per day. Commentators view this as Prime Minister Carney's capturing the political center ground, prioritizing economic interests over ideological gridlock. It is a development welcomed by some, but still a lot of headwinds for a new pipeline, which include indigenous objections, lawsuits from environmentalists, etc. See PFL Rail Report for further details. We'll see what happens with this one. We are watching a major move by Nutrient. The world's largest potash producer has opted to invest $1 billion in a new export terminal in Longview, Washington, rather than expanding capacity through a Canadian Pacific port. This is a calculated rejection of Canada's current infrastructure value proposition. The Port of Longview offered shovel-ready capacity, dual carrier access with BN and UP. Canada offered only internal confusion. Furthermore, the business environment in left-wing Carney's Canada remains a liability, with anti-replacement worker legislation and business labor disputes ongoing. Capital flows to the path of least resistance, and right now that is the United States. In merger news, the proposed combination of UP and NS has officially taken center stage. UP is pitching this as a necessary evolution towards a true transcontinental railroad that will eliminate friction and inter-railroad handoffs. However, the BN has taken its gloves off. In a forceful opposition filed last week, BN argues that this mega merger would ruin a good thing by removing two major railroads from the mix and effectively eliminating half of the existing long-haul options for carload shippers. Analysts project a combined UP and NS would control 56% of the metals market. This concentration creates a clear captive shipper risk, and we expect the Surface Transportation Board to face a really tall hill to climb in regulatory approval. On the operational front, CP has solidified its advantage in the north-south trade, completing a second span of the Pacific Atomizer Intercontinental Railroad in Laredo. This effectively doubles the capacity of the most critical point of U.S.-Mexico trade. Meanwhile, NS is combating dwell time by upgrading terminals in Georgia with new technology. Finally, we are looking at key economic indicators this week. His focus is on the Producer Price Index and consumer confidence. Please see PFL's Rail Report for further details. For the latest updates on equipment for sale or lease or customized rail solutions, contact us here at PFL. Remember, we clean, flare, service, and store rail cars all across North America. For more on railcar solutions and market updates, contact PFL today. Have a great week and be safe out there. That is all for this week. Thanks for listening, and always we will keep watching the rails for you. Have a great, safe week.